You're listening to Intuitive Style, where we believe that everyone has style. I'm Maureen Welton. In conversation with fantastic guests, we explore how to tap into our style intuition so that we can dress authentically and live fully. Today's guest bounded onto my Substack feed with joy, enthusiasm, and bright color. While she might be slightly newer to our Substack feeds, she's been making style and beauty content on Instagram for a minute, which is equally as delightful as her writing style. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction. It's so sweet.
I love seeing a new creator come on to Substack and just have such a clear perspective, POV, and you certainly accomplished that.
Thank you.
So with that, my first introduction to you was a post about your experience wearing vibrant colors over the summer and how that improved your self-esteem. For anyone who hasn't read that newsletter yet, what changed and encouraged you to start showing up in that way?
Yeah, of course. So I was actually maybe a month and a half ago just looking through my camera roll, and I noticed that most of my summer outfits, anytime I took a photo, it was some vibrant color or print. And I was like, I need to write about this because I didn't realize how happy it was making me and how comfortable I felt in all those vibrant colors and everything. A few years ago, right when COVID happened, I was a junior in college. All my classes were online. I was isolated. I was grieving the loss of a loved one. So I was not connected to myself at all. A lot of people weren't during that time. And I started to not express myself anymore through the clothes that I was wearing. Prior to COVID and all that, I felt pretty confident in my skin and what I was wearing, and my style has changed so much since then. But when COVID hit, I just started to hide myself. I hid my body. I was wearing more darker colors, nothing like the prints that I did this summer at all. And so, yeah, when I saw all the photos of myself from this summer, I wanted to write about it because it just honestly surprised me that I wasn't realizing that that self-confidence came back. And it reminded me of when, we're kids and we don't care what anyone thinks and we'll just wear whatever we want to wear. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And I mean, just beautiful to hear that, we can go through a period of kind of darkness and sadness and hiding. And, sometimes we are lucky in the way that we can just find joy again without necessarily, having to be super intentional about it. Sometimes it can just surprise us. And in that way, grief is non-linear and it's surprising in all these ways.
Yeah.
Were you shopping differently, or was it more just you'd had these clothes beforehand and were just choosing to wear darker colors versus now choosing to wear bright colors, or how was that materially different?
That's a good question. Yeah, so some of the pieces I had, but a lot of them are new. I've been fortunate to work with some brands that have gifted me some items, so that has kind of propelled me out of my comfort zone and just working with different women-owned, small-owned brands. But personally, I don't really know what it was. I just started to embrace things that maybe would have made me uncomfortable in the past, especially because I live in Florida. We had a very hot summer, and I was I can't do the oversized dark shirt and leggings every day. I need to cool off, so I started to wear a lot more linen, and some of the linen pieces that I bought were, they had prints or a pattern, and they had colors. It wasn't just a tan or a white. So just making sure that I felt comfortable in extreme heat, and then also wanting to look cute in my own sense of style and everything. But
Yeah. Well, I love that too. And this is one of the reasons that I have a podcast about this, because I think sometimes it can feel there's only one way to do things, and I'm highly analytical, so when I'm shopping for my closet, like 9 times out of 10, it's like with like extreme precision and intention, and like I overthink it. And I think what I'm hearing from what you're saying is it was a little bit more organic, and you were just kind of drawn towards these bright colors compared to when you were drawn towards darker colors. Am I oversimplifying that process, or was there more like analytical decision making behind that? Which, for the record, if it is very organic, I'm jealous.
Right? Well, I'd say if I'm just shopping for like everyday basics, right? Like things that I can wear with like 5 different outfits, I can remix it. I may be a bit more like analytical about that because I want to make sure it'll last and, you know, I can get a lot of like usage out of it. But, you know, like in that newsletter, I had this like green caftan on. Like when I got that, I wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna wear this every single day and it's going, you know what I mean? I was like, I know this is probably gonna be a piece that sits in the closet, but it makes me happy and I will wear it, you know what I mean? But it's not gonna be like an everyday item, you know? So I think like the analytical, almost like logical, close eye kind of goes out the window for me. If it's something I really, really like, that may not be something I wear every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's awesome to give yourself permission to do that. I mean, that's how we interject things that we didn't even know that we like wanted. Sometimes we're just drawn to something like a moth to a flame.
Yes.
You also mentioned in the post there was a specific outfit that you wouldn't have worn a few years ago. I think it was a little bit preppier or something like that. And I was just wondering, like, do you think that was... I guess, can you just share more about maybe what changed your mind or how that change occurred, basically?
Yeah, so I remember the dress you were talking about. So I think it was the one where it didn't have like sleeves and it was like it had like stripes. Yeah, so that was one of those like linen pieces that I was telling you about. Like I felt really like cool in it. I didn't get hot in that dress. Very comfortable piece of clothing. But a few years ago I wouldn't have worn it, not because of like the print or like the color, but literally because of the arms. Like it didn't have like a sleeve at all. And, you know, during like COVID and isolation, I started to feel very aware of my body, but then also like pick up little things that now I can look back and be like, I was being way too hard on myself. Like I'm blessed to have this body and to like be able, you know what I mean? But back then it's like I'm just looking at my body and picking all these little things apart. And back then, like I just did not like my arms out. Like I needed like sleeves. I just wanted to be covered, you know? And so that piece, I love that dress so much today. And like, I don't have a second thought like about my arms or anything. But like I said, like that didn't happen overnight, you know, because I felt those insecurities like 4 or 5 years ago, and now it's 2025. And I still have like my moments and stuff. It's not perfect, you know, but I just try to show up for myself and not be hard on myself, especially when it comes to like what I'm putting on my body and like how I feel, you know.
Yeah. I know that you said that there was also, you were grieving the loss of a loved one around that time, but it's just crazy the way that COVID like had such an impact on how we were all feeling. Like I also look back at, you know, pictures from a couple years ago, and at the time I would look at these pictures and I would be like horrified by my appearance. And it was just like totally normal. Like my body was so normal. And I just had this like horrible lens on it. And now I look back at those pictures and I'm like, I don't see the same thing. Like I see such a different version of myself. And for me, I would say partially that just comes with like getting used to maybe looking different if your body's changed. But also, like, I think there's really something to what you're saying about, like, maybe it was just the COVID of it all and, like, how much time we had to just, like, sit on our phones. I don't know. Do you
Oh
feel
yeah.
like that's part of it?
I mean, I kind of do because I remember like early days it was like don't go outside. So you it's like okay, well I'm just gonna sit inside, and like sitting inside just became my normal because like I said, like all my classes were online.
Yeah.
My classes continued to be remote until I graduated in 2022. So I was like not in campus for almost like a year and a half, almost 2 years. So like it
Yeah.
was just I am comfortable with these four walls of my apartment and I'm here and it's great, and like that just became the normal when it's time to go outside and like see your friends and your loved ones, like that feels strange, and you
Yeah.
just you just kind of want to like hide yourself or just stay where you feel safe, so
Yeah. And I totally relate to that. I think that's so fair. I mean, especially, I can't even imagine college virtually. I mean, I'm sure, like, you sound very resilient and, like,
thank
you
you.
got through it and you made the best of it. But, I mean, definitely, I think even now I'm still trying to figure out, like, how to get myself out of the house sometimes because it still feels like, I don't know, wrong sometimes.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, because when COVID first happened, I was like, "Oh, I am so happy to have online classes because I'm an introvert. I love having my own space." I was also a creative writing major, so I was like, "I'm going to romanticize this. I get to sleep in and make my coffee and read my books and do my like English literature and stuff." But then, a few months of that goes by and
Yeah.
it does a number on you. But I see what you mean about like going out now. And I mean, I do think there's a difference between, like if you really just want to protect your peace and enjoy your own company, because I do that a lot today. I live in Tampa and I've lived here for the past like 6 or 7 years. And, a few years ago, I could go downtown in like 30 minutes. It'd be a 30-minute drive, but now it could be like an hour because the drivers and the amount of people here. And sometimes I just don't want to deal with that. But that's,
Yeah.
I don't see that as me isolating myself. So I feel you on like sometimes it just feels hard to even go out now, but it
Yeah.
could be that you just want to you want to have your peace.
Totally. And it's not black or white. It's
Mhm.
definitely about figuring out like the right balance. Um
Yeah.
am I mistaken in congratulations on your MFA?
Yes, yes, I
When
graduated last month.
Okay, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel having that degree? How does that impact your outlook?
I feel really good. The I can't say enough great things about the program. I went to the University of Georgia, and it was their narrative nonfiction program, and I still talk to all of my classmates who I graduated with and some of my professors. Like, it was just an amazing experience, and I've always wanted to write like a personal essay collection, and that 2-year program really gave me like the skills but also like the confidence to achieve that goal of mine. So I feel a lot more confident when I'm writing, doing my own thing. And but that's part of the reason why I do love like Substack and writing about style, because a lot of the things I write like on the side for me that I want to be in a book one day can be very emotionally heavy. So doing like these like shorter form posts, and they're about like color and this and that and whatever, like that feels good. It's nice to have that balance. But thank you for saying congrats. It was I'm still kind of in the grieving period, honestly, because I'm like I can't believe it's still like it's actually over. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And good for
Yeah.
you for recognizing that, right? Like sometimes when we get to the end of like a big accomplishment, we're like, why am I not magically happy? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, because maybe you liked the experience of going through that and like having your friends around and all that stuff. So, yeah, no,
Yes.
that's so real.
Exactly.
So again, congrats, and again, welcome to Substack. Especially, it's always it's nice to hear that like professional writers are still using the platform. I say without a professional writing degree
Girl, you don't
myself,
need a
so.
professional writing degree. I mean, I'll be because I started posting on Substack. I think it was last January. I don't know, but I was doing more like like fashion roundups and like this
Mm,
deal, that deal, this deal. And I still like reading that type of stuff, but I took like a break for a while like this year just to finish school and everything. But coming back to the platform and finding like you and other writers, like I've just felt very inspired because I mean everything that you publish, it's like a personal essay. Like it's stunning, and like I love that. It's nice just seeing what other people have to say, and you can tell everyone's writing with a lot of heart,
mm,
and that's like
mm-hmm.
that's beautiful. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, same with your writing, right? Like, I think this is a perfect segue. Thank you. I think what's really nice about writing on Substack in particular is the long form. You can do this on YouTube as well, but the long form medium allows so much more complexity in like why people are choosing what they buy. So I guess I was just wondering, in broad strokes, how do you decide what to buy and where, and how do you decide what not to buy or where?
yes, so when deciding like what to buy, I if reviews are available, I love to look at reviews. And then also, there's certain brands that I've really liked in the past where I'm like, okay, I have to be careful today because I don't know if I'll wash this item like 3 times and then it's just not doing it anymore. So, like Gap, Banana Republic, even though I've been loving what both of them have been like putting out lately, but I'm still like,
Yeah.
you have that hesitance. Plus, since I don't have like a full time job right now, I'm even more careful about like where my money's going because I don't want it to either not fit and I can't return it, or it was a bit on the pricier side and it's just not what I actually like thought it would be like. So I try to just sit on things for a while and not do like the impulse buy, because a few years ago I was always doing that. I was like, I go to Target every weekend because I love a good bargain and I just look at all that. I haven't been to Target in months now, and so I just try to be careful and also ask myself like, will I be able to wear this a lot? Can I wear it with other items? Like, is it versatile? And if it's not versatile, like, some of those like vibrant dresses I wrote about, then I'm just like, does this really make me happy? Like, do I want it because I like it, or is it because it looked good on someone else? Like, I just try to really hone in on like my motivation for liking something. And then what not to buy, honestly, if it's too expensive or like out of budget, that's my main thing. I'll like save a photo of it or like save the link and just be like, this is very pretty, maybe one day. And I don't know, also like if I'm not sure that something will fit like my body type, I'm very curvy on the bottom too, so I try to like sway away from that, especially if it's something that's like trending on social media or like everyone's like wearing this thing, but I'm like, it may not work for me, which is okay. I try not to like give too much energy to like trends that are happening, and I just try to like observe and appreciate from afar, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's always good to know what's not for us.
Mhm.
Um, I guess the other question kind of off of that is, do you ever feel like there is such a thing as like enough with clothing? Do you ever feel like, you know, you reach a place where you're like satisfied with what you have, or is that for you maybe still like a something that you're reaching for? I mean, the
Mhm.
reason I ask is, you know, I've gone through a lot of style transitions, some of them mostly, I would say, not intentionally due to my body size and shape changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still feel like there's some sort of like goal that I'm trying to get to. And I'm just wondering, like, have you experienced a feeling of enough or satisfaction?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. But well, I have felt that, but then I've also felt like, oh, I need to get separate things or I want other things, cuz like when COVID was happening, like I gained a bit of weight, my body changed, so then I needed to buy new clothes to fit this like new body, right? And I was just like, it's fine. This is just what I have to do. Like I'm not about to wear clothes that do not feel good. You know what I mean? Like I just needed to get things that fit me. And now it's like a lot of those clothes that I bought and I did like, I had to replace them and get new clothes. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I I feel like where I am right now, like if I went to look in my closet, I'm like, this is enough. Like I have what I need. But there's always things that you may want, and I think honestly, social media it kind of feeds into that. I mean, let's be real. Like if we didn't have like any of that magazines, what like if we didn't know what was trending and forecasting for like the fashion stuff, like I feel like the like want list or wish list it might be a lot shorter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's things that I want, but do I necessarily need them? No. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Well, and I asked also because just from your other answers, like, you sound very level headed and neutral when talking about shopping and buying things. And I wanted to acknowledge that because I don't think, like you said, there are so many things out there telling us, like, what we have isn't enough. And, it's such a trap. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess I wanted to see if I was reading you right because yeah, you sound really at peace with what you have, and I think that's amazing.
Thank you. That's sweet. No, honestly, I think it's because I was laid off last year and kind of like jumping from freelance position to freelance position and being like on a budget and like holding myself accountable for like spending habits and stuff. I think that has to do with it too because when I did have my full-time job, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to reward myself." And like doing
Yeah.
little things. And now that I'm not really doing that, I have kind of been forced to just like chill. But I also, like I create like fashion and beauty and sometimes like book content on my social media. And my thing with creating content, I started it after I was laid off because I had so much free time. But my thing with it, I always was like, I want to stay true to myself and I never want to seem like I am, you know, almost like yelling at people saying like you need this
Mm-hmm.
because your skin's gonna change and you're gonna wake up looking like a glazed donut, which like that's fine. Like people who like do that type of content, that's fine, but for me it's just not me. And I never wanted to be like, you have to buy this and da da da. Like it can feel very loud. And then if you would start to consume that much content, you really will start believing that you do need all of these things when you may not,
Yeah.
you know? So I just try to be like intentional about that when I am creating content. And I think it has spread into just like my personal way of moving through like shopping or like getting new clothes or a new product or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so important,
Mm-hmm.
as creators to know what we want to communicate. And to me, you seem to be doing that very effectively.
Thank you.
So with that said, what you mentioned earlier that like being on Substack has been very inspirational for you. So, knowing that maybe you're not necessarily writing about shopping, what is exciting or inspiring you to write these days?
mm. Yeah, I'd say the free time that I have now. Um, No, because like it's I was so excited to get back into Substack or just like do my little blogging and stuff because it feels therapeutic and it is really nice. I like putting things together like in the Substack like CMS and everything, just like work with all the graphics and things like that. Also, it's been cool lately to connect with so many new people because when I was using it like a few months ago and you and I hadn't connected yet, like my feed wasn't really what it looks like now,
Yeah.
and now it's just like people supporting people and it's nice to see that. So I wasn't on there as much, but seeing that now, like all the support people have for each other, it makes me want to keep like returning. And also, I think too, just kind of creating a routine for myself with Substack and trying to do like once a week or like every 2 weeks. I had like a very like regimented like school schedule and like I was so exhausted after I graduated, so happy, but I had to take a few weeks to just breathe and just doing like my short post on Substack has helped me be like, okay, I feel like I can take those steps to do like my writing on the side and start writing my book and things. So, yeah, it's been really helpful.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to someone trying to build a wardrobe that feels intuitive and authentic to them?
I'd say just stay true to yourself, and I think, we were talking earlier, like, can you have that, like, fake it till you make it mindset in terms of, like, wearing things that are outside of your comfort zone? And I think you can, but I've tried to do that a few times, like, in the past few years, and I would just always feel so uncomfortable, so I'm just like, start small, and I'd say also try not to take it too seriously in the way of like, I need to have this certain shirt and this certain thing and this certain thing. Like try to have fun with it and forget like rules if you can. Like that's what I would do. And, just whatever works for you will work for you. You know what I mean? Like that's my main thing. Like for example, the whole like mid-rise or low-rise jeans like had made a comeback and stuff, and I was like, look, great, love that for y'all, but I was like, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not about to go buy a low-rise jeans. No, I'm a high-waisted girl, I can't do that. So and it that's fine, so it's just like I'd say just do what works for you and what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. This was really fun. Where can listeners find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and it's just Lee Alisha, so LeeAlisha. And then that's also my Substack, leealisha.substack.com. My newsletter is Wearing on My Mind. But yeah, this was so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll make sure that all of your links are in the show notes so that everyone can find you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Intuitive Style is produced, edited, and hosted by me, Maureen Walton. Our theme music is by Tim Reed and Jacob Walton. In case you missed it, Intuitive Style, the podcast, is an offshoot of Intuitive Style, the newsletter. Head on over to Substack, search Intuitive Style to read the newsletter, which covers reflections on what's happening in personal style world, guest features, and the encouragement that there's no right way to get dressed. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Share this episode with someone you think might enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe as new episodes drop weekly on Fridays. Thanks. See you next week.